Our old friend Marla Newbern, former prison psychologist for 30 years, he used to talk about the fellas and the lovely ladies, not just when we talked about crime and black crime and violence. We weren't just talking about quantity, we're talking about quality, how it had a really sadistic quality about it. And that's what occurred to me when I saw this latest video that I ran into, just to say, ran into today, you're going to see in a minute or two. But when I think of the sadistic quality of black violence, I don't see how it gets more sadistic than all the cases we've documented, not just talked about, not just repeated, because we heard the guy said this, he repeated what somebody else, what his first cousin said. No, things that we document on video. All the black on handicap violence out there. Everybody remembers that story from Chicago, right? Right? Yeah. Lighter courtesy of True to Roof.
I'll do better next time, I promise.
You remember that one where they literally, a bunch of the fellas kidnapped a retarded white kid, mentally ill white kid. He thought they were all his friends. Next thing you know, they're holding him for hours and hours and hours, torturing him on video. And the stated reason was they were white and they were just going to keep doing that to him. We've done tons of those. I'm thinking of a guy in Lower Delaware. A guy with the disease. Remember the Elephant Man, the movie? He was sitting on his fence. He looked like the Elephant Man. A bunch of fellas came by, started taunting him, harassing him, ultimately beating him. How many stories have we done on this happening in school, during school, after school? White handicapped kid, mentally handicapped, gets picked on, harassed and beaten. Many, many times. Even so, even though we document this, there's tons of videos, victims, witnesses, 911 calls, jury verdicts. Still, we get a lot of people that just are in total denial, deceit, and delusion about it. You remember Jesse Lee Peterson. He likes to take videos into the hood, show them a lot of videos we make here, and he'll say, hey, what do you think of this video of all this black on white violence? The answer he gets 100% of the time is white people do it too. Well, we still get that. I just got that today on Twitter. You know, some genius brainiac on Twitter came across and said, hey, Colin, I have to disagree with you on that because, you know, black crime, white crime is equal, and there's a lot of, there's no difference. So that's how screwed up that is. Why don't we take a look at the latest video out of Nashville. Nashville's becoming like another Memphis, by the way, slowly but surely. Now let's see the bad business down in Nashville.
That's right. Bold and brazen is how his mother, Penny, describes the attack on her teenage son, who just happens to be here in Nashville visiting for the summer. She says her 16-year-old has high-functioning autism and ADHD, which made it hard for him to articulate exactly what happened right away.
I do free running and parkour, a lot of urban exploration. You know, I just run around the city, just enjoying the sights, sounds, people.
But around 1:45 Friday near 6th and Sylvan Street in East Nashville, Gavin Tyler says a group of young boys began taunting him.
They looked a bit menacing, so really looked like they were up to no good.
He picked up his pace, but the boys soon caught up. One of them struck him in the back of his head. Gavin says he tried to run away, but decided to stop, fearful they may have a weapon.
I just stood there and took the punches. So it was a battle of wit in my case. I did tell him to stop, and I said, I didn't do anything to you, and they just kept punching.
Gavin says he was hit 6 more times in the face and told to give up his cell phone and wallet, or else.
They're saying, I'll go get a .45 caliber and and I'll pop you, or I'll stick you, with a knife.
He gave them his cell phone and the boys took off. Gavin tried to make it home when a neighbor stopped and called the teen's mom to the scene.
It was terrifying to see him hurt.
They went to a pediatrician who advised they go to a hospital with concerns of a concussion and a fractured face. In the end, he received several stitches to his lip.
It could have been a much different story. We're very fortunate and blessed, but I do want parents to know that it's important to know where your kids are at all times. I wonder about, where are their parents? Do their parents even know this happened?
While Penny is upset,
for him to come home for the summer break and this happened, it really breaks my heart.
Gavin has a different outlook on the bullies.
Maybe their parents didn't have a job, or maybe they didn't have parents at all, or maybe their parents didn't pay attention to them. All of that stuff could have been a possibility. And so as a result, I don't resent them for what they did.
Quite an outlook there. Now, the Tylers filed a police report, and less than 48 hours later, they were hit by another act of crime. We'll talk more about that.
So that happened in East Nashville, and we know from people who live in East Nashville. We know from a couple of people sent me the same video. This was a bunch of fellas bunch of black people who attacked this white autistic kid for no reason whatsoever other than that is how they get their fun. But pointing out the sadistic, out of proportion level of black crime and violence in this country, like we're starting to see a lot more in Nashville. A lot of people just don't want to do that because that makes the black kids angry.